So we are here to see how to improve fire geometry in Arma 3, and I'm with Bax, my fellow friend in IFA 3 team, who is going to interact with me on this tutorial. So we have a basic hull fire geometry with all the components with materials assigned, and we want to improve it because we noticed that the thickness of the materials of the plates were too thin, and as you can see that the mesh is a bit weird with holes in the hull here, and in general not very nice. That could lead to penetration issue under certain angles, so we want to clean that up. And instead of struggling, I offered Bax to record with him today how to make very simply some new plates for your fire geometry. So that works for any vehicle or building, anything that's as sharp plates. So I extracted this from the resolution load, simplified it just to prepare the tutorial, and now here we are. And we want to simplify it. So the process is simple actually. You mostly want to extrude things and give them the correct thickness directly. So I'm going to smooth and flatten everything. So the key point with the material is always that they have to be simple, which means as less faces as possible. So you can see here that the geometry of this plate, which is a hatch, is going to could be quite hard to compute as a component, because it's going to remove some angles, okay, and lead to holes in the mesh. I mean, it's not closed anyway if we look from above, but as it is the roof, we don't really care. But things like this angle here, once turned into a component, it's going to be simplified into this. So the component is going to actually do that to the mesh. So you don't necessarily want it, and sometimes you want to keep this angle. Here it's not very important, but the component could also do this to simplify it, and then we would have a hole here. So the first things I'm going to do is to use the limited dissolve to create n-gons almost everywhere, and trying not to break the overall geometry. So I'm going to simplify all my components. This inner angle is useless, so I'm making a big flat n-gon. The interior here is useless as well, so I'm going no, I'm not going to do it. Let me check. See, this is quite useless, but let's do first this part. In the mesh they made it like that with an inner hole, so it's all plates. I don't think that's really relevant. Do you think, Bax? Yeah, I think we could. Yeah, I mean, I think the way the engine computes it is it takes the thinner between the material and the RV mat, right? Yeah. It's going to take 45, and if the RV mat is 45 millimeter and your 3D is 30, it's going to use 30. Yeah. So the question is then, not to have plates here, but to have a big block. If the top and the sides and everything is the same thickness, then we don't care if it's a block, right? So I'm going to simplify it. So the key in doing fire geometry is to reduce the geometry to plates. Like that. I'm using Control Delete. So I'm using Alt right click, it's going to select a loop. And Control Delete, oh shit, it's removed the... I'm going to, I cannot untriangulate it. So Alt right click selects the loop, Control Delete deletes the whole loop. So if I'm taking all this, press Control Delete, and it's going to remove the whole edge loop. So I want to simplify it to have it as close as possible to just a big square. So I'm going to first grab this inner loop and Control Delete it. Why did it select me the... I went on the... Look at that. It's kind of, it's like a screw. Oh my god. Russian mesh. So let's try the outer loop then. And it goes. Shit. It's not really important. Here I'm going to simplify it progressively until I get, oh my god, what is this? Like that. And yeah, let's do it here. I'm going to, yeah, you want to try to have a bit the same shape as the mesh, because the impact, what the fuck is this? And nah, because actually you want it to be quite close to the actual mesh, because it's where the decal of the impact is going to apply. So if it's not merging with the, or if it's too far away from the actual mesh, you're going to have it under the mesh and you won't see it. Not above, but just right next to it. Here I'm merging at last. It doesn't modify the geometry too much. Oh my god. Anyway, I'm going to cut it in the editing and... oh shit. It's really done. Voila. It's just so weird like this. The key is to make squares. Like that. And then this one becomes useless. Pretty much. And as this one. What is this one there? This one I want to... okay. So I keep the general shape, you know. because when it's going to be simplified by the component, you don't want it to be too different. Yeah, I can delete this. Could even delete this one and this one and this one and have it like this. I'm trying to replicate on the other side, but that like that. Sorry? No, I'm trying just to have this bubble as one component, and I don't think I'm going to keep the inner hole here, because in terms of geometry it's quite, it's quite useless. It's very unlikely the shell goes there, and if it goes there, it doesn't matter if the hole is here or not. If they merge together. They are going to combine, but it's supposed to be a thick, there's an additional plate, so this part here is maybe, I don't know, 40 millimeter plus the armor below it. It's to protect the gunner and the gun. No, that's not a limitation. They are combining. So we come out with this, and here to avoid the engine to do something like that, and delete and make it like a pyramid. I'm going to cut here with V and fill this hole. And then if I hide this and I make this and I make this and then I press the limited dissol, I have my plate here, and I have my gun. Here is where the gun goes inside, but it's a separate part, So we'll see how O2 is going to compute it afterwards. So this part here, go ahead and consider it done. This and this we'll see after. And now to the for the front plates, you want to fill the holes. I'm going to hide the hatches for now. I'll just keep it. Just keep the plates. I will keep this because it's the plate for the opening for the hatch. So when you open your hatch, you want the driver to be exposed. And otherwise, I'm doing the same. I'm simplifying everything. So once I've done this, this is the filled hull. I'm going to grab all these parts and press F. I'm going to fill it, of course. I'm pressing F to flatten it. So you see this little curve here is not really important, it doesn't matter. It's just the link between the gun reinforcement and the actual hull. But I'm flattening it with F, 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 and this part F, and then retriangulate. untriangulate with alt G, and I come up with something like that. Okay, that gives me my plates my component shape. Once I've done this, I go into edge mode. So this is simplified to the maximum. Okay, it's what it's going to look like as a hull. And I'm going to press V on every edge. Like that, to actually have separate rectangles, or at least, I don't know what the English is, you know, 4 sides shapes. So you have 4 points, and that's it. A triangle. Sorry? Okay. We have in French we have a word, but whatever. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you end up with triangles. Sometimes even for some reason a square won't work. Like imagine this one is going to fuck up upon creating the component. You might be forced to turn it into a triangle. It happens sometimes. We'll see if we have one. But otherwise, squares are supposed to work. Alright, 4 sides shapes. And same here, we want to keep this. Let's get there. The question is this relevant? To me, it's not relevant. So I can ditch this one. Again, I'm ripping the mesh, and once I'm done, every component must be, or I mean every mesh here is, every face, yeah, is separated from others. And that's where the easy part is. That's what makes this process easy, is I select by normal, so all these faces are the same orientation, and I'm going to extrude it. And when I extrude, default is directly over the normal. So here, press E, and I can select the thickness of it right there. So how many? 50? 0.5? No. Yeah, 0.5, yeah. And that's it. And then you have a very nice, if that does this, you just recalculate the normals, and you end up with a very nice plate full of components that are actually pinned together, right? There's no more hole in between all of them. Why you want to select all those in the same orientation is because if I select this one and press E, it's going to follow the normal of the majority. It's going to make kind of an average, and this one gets a weird shape. Okay, that's on the outside. So we don't want this to happen, and only take those. 0.5. Alright, is this 0.5 everywhere? Okay. Well, we don't care, as there's the. It must be thicker than the 40. So same thing, I'm taking this one first, 0.4, then this one, 0.4, then this one, 0.4, and this one, 0.4 again. Select everything, recalculate the normals, and here I am. The engine doesn't, it's not recommended to actually have this. As you can see, there's the plate over the plate. No. But I've never been really I did not see any difference between something like this and something like this. You know, something that, I mean, that is clean. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know how a shell eating here is going to react, because it's going to eat two plates at the same time. But on the other hand, if you bevel the angles and have a 45 degrees angle, I don't know it's going to behave either. Because it can actually compute that it's only 0.2 thickness and go right through it. Because it's going to compute the entry point and then the exit point and make the difference between the two, if I read correctly the engine formulas that Q sent the other day. So it's kind of a tricky part. So from my testing, this never made any problem. The perfect angle shot here, right there, is quite rare in the end. And yeah, I don't know, if you have the patience to make the 45 bevel, I say why not. If you don't have, and if you noticed any issue with this, maybe you can add it in the comment in the video, but for now it's going to be like this. So we have little summary. We have our big bubble in one big geometry component, and it will be all the same RV mat. Then the reinforced plate in front of the main plate. All our components that are part of the hull itself. And so remains this. I choose to have this behind. Okay, I could have it following the mesh, but I went for simplicity. Reason is you're not likely to actually hit here either. People are more going to aim for the hull hatch, for the driver hatch, and it doesn't make a big difference. You can just make it less thick than it was actually. I guess this was is it 50? Yes. I guess they made this 50 millimeter, and then we'll just put 20, and that's good because you have the plate behind. And so here it's the very same process. I'm going to remove the mesh to only keep those plates. And then I'm going to rip the edges with V. Shit. V and V. Come up with multiple components. Select, press E. Here you can whether go all this way or extrude them one by one. And I think you can also extrude in the tools. Extrude region, not region. So something like this. Individual faces. Okay, right there. Another way to do it. And we set 0 to let's set 0.3, and we'll just yeah, the problem with that one is this, it's that it doesn't keep the holes. Okay, you can see that it moved the face and I have no more face on the outside. So I'm just pressing Ctrl Alt Shift M it's going to select the unclosed mesh and then press F, and it gives me back the face that was missing, and I end up with all those components like that. The roof hatch is going to stay like this, I guess. It's the roof, so it's probably 2 centimeters. Then comes the driver hatch and all those parts. As for the rest, I want it quite simple. So this I'm going to remove. We can keep these, but we are going to simplify them. And we can keep all this big part, and to simplify it is quite easy actually. You just grab the mesh, duplicate it, hide it, remove all this shit. Remove this. Then select all those edges, Control Delete. This deletes the vertices here. Shit. And to make this, it's quite easy. You just make it one part, last, merge at last. So that's one part, right? Press E, bring it here. It's not even straight. So the white is active, and move it like that. This part. So that's one block. Of course, it is not going to act correctly. So I can eventually get rid of this to have this like that. I'm going to just put it back. I moved it to show you, but that's pretty much it. We could even do this, and this way I'm sure it's going to compute correctly. Maybe this one is. We'll see how it's going to turn out. And there's this one. I'm going to actually move it there. You can select by normal, and you're supposed to be able to follow it like this. So the key is really to make everything squared or rectangles. You're going to do this, voila. So these are okay, done. Then the hatch, you just have to close the mesh, right? That's my hatch is quite complex, so I'm going to actually use the same process as for the hull. I'm duplicating this, hide it, remove my initial hatch. This I can close it in 2 seconds. Like that. And come back here. So I only have my hatch, run limited dissolve. It's actually not sure how it's going to behave. We'll see. Just in case, I'm going to cut it here. And extrude it. How much was it? 0.5? 70? Big thick hatch. Recalculate. And finally those. It's quite easy. Let's just remove this extra part. Run limited dissolve and hide everything, and like that. The interesting part too in using the resolution load initially is that I don't have to bother with the vertex group as it's kept all the way. It means that if I select the driver hatch, you have the whole part that's going to rotate. You see that right there. It's going to, a part was missing because I remade it from combined vertices, and so here I am with my hatch. But otherwise, if I select Auto Calvan, which is the gun, I have all these parts. That is the last one I have to finish. But the vertices are going to remain the same. And so yeah, it's the same here. We want to simplify it. So let's select by UV, select by UV. End up with a kind of hat. And because they did not use this this way to do it. It was common back in Arma 1 and 2 to actually do all the modeling stuff inside Object Builder. Because it wasn't as bad as it is now back then. Meaning, yeah, you know, the tools were different. Now it's obviously completely deprecated. But yeah, years ago it was common, and still some guys are like, oh, I did this Opal Blitz in Object Builder. Ah, okay. Oh, it took me. It's one guy. Yeah, did you restart in Object Builder? Oh yeah, no, I mean you imported it from. Yeah, no, that no, I mean people did everything in Object Builder. Yeah. So here it's the same. I'm simplifying the mesh, so getting rid of unnecessary stuff. this one. So we'll see, maybe some won't be... Maybe some components are not going to make it correctly, but we'll see. Here we can... Oh, look at this, it's again... Well, let me think 1 second. This one. Right. And then this one. Again. Where is it? It's there, and it goes. I am going to find it, but it's like my brain is... Ah, c'est horrible, putain. Oh my god. Hold on. I can't visualize what I want to achieve. Okay, that's it. Okay, so we'll see how it's going to make it. We'll see. Anyway, it's behind the stuff, so I could even... I want to have it as straight as possible, but I mean I could even do this. But if I do this, it's going to make that. So I don't know. We'll see like how it behaves with this. I don't really... You see, I can keep an n-gon. It's not a problem. So I have my final geometry. You can export it. That's the last part of the tutorial. Well, except if we have too many broken components. But exporting this as P3D. Come out with this. I'm going to not select it, but just if you select it, it's going to look. I'm going not if I select it and press structure convexity component, it merges stuff all together, and instead of having some, it's going to fuck up much more easily actually. If I'm not selecting anything, do this. So we have many broken stuff here. We're going to review one by one. This is okay. So here I'm deleting them. I don't care. It's just I'm reviewing. You don't want any component to be with the hole inside. You want them to be closed. Another good way to review is to make structure topology find non-closed, and you see that everything here is broken. I can even get select from point, but it's still broken because object builder, you know. So that's why I'm doing it manually. And I'm hunting for this kind of stuff here. This is broken. See, I have a missing face, which means this, that's what I was saying a bit earlier, is that this is squared. So we would say, oh, that's fine, okay, blah, blah, blah. But actually, if I want it to work, I would have to make planar faces. It could be because the face is not flat. It happens. But the best way is I'm using the knife tool with K. I knife it like this and separate it. Press Ctrl Alt Shift M, press F, and this way I have two closed. The mesh is closed and I have it in two components instead of one. This I don't think it's going to break because it's really simple geometry. Okay. Actually, this one is. Oh, you see? Yeah, and this one you could easily miss it. And actually, your wall plate here is not binarized. So same symptom, same medication. Yeah, it's usually because it's the shape it doesn't like. It's really stupid. Yeah, I mean, that's super basic, and still it's mostly unplanar faces. But if you make it planar, then you have whether holes or it's going to annoy you because you want it to be as accurate as possible. I mean, it's not the case here, but I'm sure that if I divide it into components, the issue will be removed. So it's, see, it's very easy to do. It's just boring. In something like, this one is fully fucked up. In an engine like Unreal. Oh, as you see, as I said, this one got rectified. The angle is done, but it doesn't affect the geometry. It kept the most important, that were these angles. So that's okay. Here, wow, I don't believe it. This one is fully okay. So yeah, in Unreal Engine, you just select your face in the resolution load and you can define the thickness on it directly. I think I have something like... No. That's too easy, you said? Alright. In Arma, we like to suffer. Yeah. This one made it. Woo! Okay. This one did not make it. This one did not make it. Too complex. Holes everywhere. What's next? That's so full. All this one isn't making it either. The front hatch is not okay. This is not okay. At least this one is okay. These look okay. See, this is much more complex than it looks like. Even more than this. There are more. How many points? This has selected point 16. This has 16 points, so this works, this doesn't. It's like, this is not okay. This one is, I guess, okay. Right. I think the remaining plates are okay. Yeah. So we have all those. Hold on. So they're okay and it's okay. Because we have all these to fix. This, and this. No, it's not it's not random, it's just actually this one is going to be fixed. Yeah, I mean the upper angle is, you know, don't need to make. I could make like a little hat to it and do this and blah blah and separate it, but to be honest, it's not going to change anything. On this one, on the other end, guess I'm going to do this and this, then repress. Hold on, I'm getting to it, and we'll see. And there, what's your problem, bro? We had the survivor versus. Just run a limited dissolve and I'm surely going to cut that. It's where it doesn't like it, but yeah, you can. I mean, yeah, it works. It's never recommended by the T3D. You know, there are rules in 3D, blah blah blah. But when you generate convex components, it doesn't matter. It's going to retriangulate everything. Ta-da! And those. So where are they broken? So if you look at this, you see it's trying to really simplify it more. And this one, I guess that's the same. It has too many circles to the front. And the other good part when you keep the end guns is that you can easily select the loops like that and get rid of them. This one then. Where is this even a thing? Ah! I don't think that's the main. Really, if it's not happy, then and fuck it. Let's really simplify to the maximum, and then this one, it's going to make it the hard way. I'd like to keep this angle though. So what I can do is it's really changing it too much. If I get rid of these angles, I can maybe get. Nah, that's too much. Get rid of this then. And the easier would be to make that, try like this. Although I don't really like it, but yes. We'll see. Looks much better. Structure, fine unclosed. Ah! I still have a few. The hatch. The hatch and which one is this? Ah, that's this one right there. Just it. You fuck. The hat. Ah, it's narrowing down, bro. Yeah, that's crazy. So can I get rid of? I'm going to get rid of this. Anyway, look, they don't really bother. No make leaks. And this one, I could be like hardcore and divide it, sorry. So, but I'm sure it's still capable of messing up. To do this. Not sure it's going to change anything, but nah. Yeah. You see, it's removed. It even removed everything and simplified it. You see how this changes the mesh? I went from very structural stuff to all simplified. So when it does this, the only thing you have left is this. So you see I'm just selecting loops actually. Shit. Control Alt Shift M and fill the holes, and not going to triangulate it, I'm going to let it do it. Ah, God, like that shit. Still the front one is... Front one is still breaking, but the other ones are good, so it's still... Okay, this one. Fuck you! Fuck you! It's always like that. But at least then we have clean stuff. So here, I'm going to break it like this. Or like that. Like that is better. Oh mon Dieu. It's so annoying. You see, if I select this, which is the one that annoys me, and do a cleanup, make planar faces, it's going to, you see how it changed the mesh? So I'm going to test this, and I hope it did not, oh, it created a hole here. It's a bit weird. So that's the issue when you do the planar mesh stuff. That's why I prefer to triangulate. So I keep the structure, but yeah. As always, or is it going to compute the triangle, you know? Like, where does it choose the thickness? What does it do? If it's there, then there's this one, but you know? Stupid, right? Isn't it? The what? I mean, I could oh my god. What the fuck? I mean, what can you do when it's a triangle that's fucks up? I mean, you know, 5-6 points. Oh shit. I got blenderized. Ah! I did revert in object mode. So I'm back to this. Fuck. Well, I'm going to try this way. Clean up, make planar faces right there, and we'll see. Ah, look, it went through with the, yeah. Yeah, and that's it. You see how stupid that is? Yeah, it's actually because it wants, it's a you have to understand it's a convex component. So anything that is concave, like this is concave, it's going to be convexed. So if it's unplanar, it doesn't know whether it's this or if it's this, and it's like and that's why it breaks. And that's why when you make a triangle, you simplify it for very specific faces. You want to keep it triangular, like with triangles. And here the planar face probably change the mesh a bit, but avoids the weird, you know, when I was this triangle over the other one, it was quite creepy because always it's going to be computed on a very important part, that is the gun. Yeah, you're right. If it's just a little part at the rear to make a nice fire geometry, like, I don't know, a light or a fuel barrel or whatever, we don't really care. If it's a small, like a small metal part that is penetrated by even a rifle round. But when it's a critical armor piece, it's always am I going to fuck up my entire tank? Structure, so topology, fine non-closed. Okay, that's fine. So we are finally with our final fire geometry. Okay, so let's just for comparison. Okay, that's my interior. I'm going to use the that's my interior, and if we take the our interior, no, not really. If you look at it, look, oh crap, it, that is, you have this going through the other one. Can I have it? And especially the interior, you have this with holes, complex stuff, lame. Look at this. I don't even think the hatches exist. I guess they do, but they are so crappy. Well, they did the bevel stuff, it seems. But on the other hand, if you shoot right there, you have no armor. You just have to shoot at the base of the commander, or even there. It's just enter right through the tank. There's no shielding. Here you can look at here. Here's the hole as well. So yeah, it's quite crappy. And especially here, it looks really bad. Versus this. Which is all streamlined, no hole, nothing. And we have a closer geometry here. Okay, which is going to be an improvement in terms of deflecting shells. Between this, which is flat, it's going to go right through it at a 0° incidence, and this one, which is smaller, and then directly that goes there. See, you have more. Really? Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and no, it's mostly about the deflection. There you have one face 60 degrees, and there you have two faces or more for the same surface. So yeah, up and downs. I'm going to retrieve this and paste it here. Voila. So the only thing you have to do then is to remove. Oh, we are going to process this now just to have a complete tutorial. When you export from Blender, so you want to do like I did, delete empty. Even with this, the damage here are useless because they are for the textures where it's going to appear. Auto Calvin, commander back, commander front, driver. You end up with the 4 components and that's it. There are 4 named selections, then all the rest is component. The key part is that you have lost the material. And what people are going to do usually are there are 2 possibilities. Most are going to or you think you can basically do. How can I do this fast? Just going to clean that up quickly for the tutorial. So it's complete. This. Oh shit. To add cheese. You're right, it was fine. So how are you going to include your mesh is quite it's not a complex question, but there's a trick. So that's why it is pinned back in the Discord. But you have. So that's the whole parts we redid. Okay. So how to re-inject our. I forgot the. Yeah. Voila. How to re-inject our front hull. We could basically assign the materials. Okay. So I'm going to use blah blah, whatever. So that's the RV mat of the thickness. And then paste it right there, okay? We could say, okay, that's okay. No, it's finished. Except it that you have 2 components. And this is wrong, it's going to break. Because you cannot have twice the same. What I did when I was a baby mother is, because I reworked some of those and changed parts and so on, I regenerated the convex components. So I removed all the proxies, came up with that, regenerated them, especially because at that time there were ARMA 2 components and I was not sure they were the same because they were written differently, blah blah. So I regenerated. The problem when you do this is that you lose all your materials, so you have to reassign them, right? So it's no good. The process is then to assign your, make your component, structure, convex component, assign your materials, and then you inject it. And instead you make convexity, hold on, yeah, topology. I have it on the right. So, blah blah blah, topology, find components, and it's going to rename them and give them one name each, and you're done. And you did not lose your materials, and you have blah blah is there, and the rest did not lose its value. If you are doing this directly in 1p3d, I recommend you to make a new load. So you have your additional load, you can create it. And don't forget to remove it. Otherwise you end up with an empty 6 load and your tank is invisible in the distance. Another option is to have it in an edit load that is not computed upon binarization. So you see we have some backup stuff. And then you can inject it. So never run the component convex hull in something that is already set up, otherwise you will erase all your RVMat values and you will have to reproceed them one by one. So it's a good way to clean up, but it's not sure that's what you want right now. Always run the find component when you modify your component, add a new one, etc. It's a very fast check. Topology, find components. No danger here. And finally, most importantly, if I run my I'm going to remove the proxy because they are going to make false positive, but to check your fire geometry is working, you want to make a topology find non-closed, and if you have no red vertices, it means that all your components are closed and ready to go. And here you know that to accept some bad design. So I did not look at the rest of the tank in depth, but it looked okay. Yeah, but I mean you can import it in Blender. Okay, a way to. Hold on, I'm going to save this for you. If you want to quickly modify it, simply import. 10 hours later. Oh my god. Okay. Hey, it's there. I remove the proxies. If you want to change the thickness, just go into face mode and go inside. And if you have a look here, if I do this, it's going to destructure a bit. So I'm simply going into here, normal. I can play around. A good thing also is to have the lens ticked. And when I do this, you see when I move my mouse on, if you look on the bottom, it shows the size 0.9 blah blah. Yeah, and then it's always the same in Blender. If you want to have it very smooth, you want to. It's quite annoying to be smooth, but I mean you can do it there. Voila. And then you re-inject the same way. The best is to only re-inject the component. You export this, I mean delete everything else, export it. And a good trick also imagine you just exported it. How am I going to select this? First way is to go into select object, select one angle, and then unselect with Control Shift, drag and drop. Then you have this selected. Okay, or I could do this, and the same way. It's more. Here I have more things to unselect, you know. But I end up with only this. Another option is to go into this mode here, touch face, and press Shift left click on the face, and it's going to select everything. So you just Shift left click, delete, inject your new one with the correct RVMAT, blah blah, and then fan components, and it's done. Yeah, easy. All right. Have you got any question, my little backs? Okay. So yeah, that I'm not saving this. You'll do it. Now, after the theory, now you have the practice run. And yeah, I'll let you just send me your much better version when you are okay. All right. I think that the front hull was the big shit here, and you mostly have to. Yeah, I think the rear is quite good. I don't know, here it's quite bad, but it's because I merged my new part. Here it's flat, and so it opened this hole. Yeah, so needs a bit of review. Not much though. I mean, the wheels you don't have, the tracks you don't have, the skirts you don't have to move, to change them. It's okay, but this is terrible. I mean, just land an 80 grenade on this and you get directly into the engine. Oh my god. You see, I don't know how this works, but what happens if you take a mortar shell on top? I mean, with the, if you have no explosion shielding from the components, is it going to penetrate directly? Is it simulated or not? But yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you fire HE rounds on this and you hit here, is it going to penetrate the hole or not? I mean, when you just have to make this one big block, all this part, because it's useless to have it actually plated. Yeah, probably 20, yeah. So 40. But okay, the roof is 20, so maybe it's relevant. I mean, maybe that's relevant to do it. Okay, maybe, but you do not. I mean, you just add a few long components to fit this. I mean, you know, even if it's 40 by 40, just to fill the hole. I mean, that's okay. Okay, voila. Good luck with that. No, it's easy. In all, it's easy. I went the slow mode, but in the end, it's not that terrible. I could even have been less into details, and I could have not bothered with this and simply have that. It's not. Yeah. Well, it's also when you are infantry next to it and that you fire a specific detail. I don't know, imagine you go and you spray your machine gun rounds here and you notice that actually they don't exist. You know, and here it's really irrelevant to have this in fire geometry, but in case of some details, sometimes it doesn't look nice. Like if, or like this, like for example, you have no fire geometry over the exhaust. Oh really? Oh my god. Yeah, so that's creepy. This one is quite creepy. Okay, like I mean the exhausts are okay, but this is quite creepy. And I mean you could even link it to. Oh, I think they are not linked to the interior fuel. They are just to be detached, and I don't know, are they going straight inside or not? But okay. But yeah, this one is really creepy, especially if you are like there under the tank and you want to shoot someone sitting on top and you fire through the. Okay. Yeah. If you have no more question, I'm going to leave you there.